Alright, hello everyone, and welcome back to Daily Update, my 1000 Day Challenge. This is day 259, so let's get things started. Alright, so first and foremost, you'll notice the balance actually remained the same here, but actually there's been a couple of trades that was closed. So I haven't updated in terms of my trading journal yet, so you don't see the difference reflected over here. But otherwise, I'll update it after this video recording, and you should see it tomorrow itself. So I actually closed a couple of long trades, both in terms of Bitcoin, Ethereum, and for my main trading account, Bitcoin has been closed in terms of the trailing stop loss, as I'll talk more about it later, whereas I'm still in the long trade in terms of Ethereum and Lane-wise. All right, otherwise, in terms of the market structure update, comparing yesterday to today on the daily chart, you'll notice there isn't much of a major change. But if you look in terms of a short-term daily kind of price action, you do see that S&P 500 and also Nasdaq actually resumed the bullish momentum as well. So you can see that things is still going upwards. But without a doubt, this looks to be a little bit more parabolic, of course, just now when I do it. Like this, it definitely seems way more parabolic, which is why I say a lot of times it's always good to just scale in and take a look in terms of grand perspective, and more importantly, using moving averages as a guideline. And the reason why moving averages helps as a better guideline of whether is it overextended is because you can see the gap differences, and you can also measure in terms of percentage differences wise, rather than say in a more subjective manner whereby you can actually look like this and say that it looks extremely parabolic. But in actual fact, it actually looks a lot less parabolic if you look at like this rather flat. So yeah, but of course at this point of time, I'll definitely not dollar cost average at this point of time, unless I have no position that I'm currently in. But yeah, it is what it is. So similarly for Nasdaq, even though a bearish engulfing candle close, so which is why I say generally I do not look to short, but if you do look to short, you generally would want to have it open below, which in this case it didn't. It actually opened above in the second half, which leans towards the bullish momentum. So if price actually remains right above these key support region or resistance and support, it could still potentially be a great sign that we could still see further upside momentum, especially if this 20 exponential moving average given the chance to catch up if we do consolidate over here. All right, and moving to ASA chart, like what I mentioned, things is still remaining very near this 200 simple moving average on the daily chart. So there is getting more and more potential that we could break further downwards. But of course, if the breaking momentum is very strong and sharp, you could also see a very strong rebound, in which case it will be a good buying opportunity as well. And for similarly, KWAP wise, we are looking a little bit more bearish, especially not only are we maintaining at these lows, but we're actually maintaining right below this 200 simple moving average. So tentatively, I would say that KWAP is looking a little bit more bearish, even with some sort of clarity from the government regulations for Alibaba itself. So potentially we could still hit over here in the $66 mark. So I'm just waiting for clearer confirmation. But if we're in terms of adding position wise, dollar cost averaging wise over here would be a perfectly okay move to do. And finally, for Bitcoin itself, so we have somewhat like a 2 indecision candlestick after breaking decisively above. So what I do see over here is that if we do have some sort of rejection of this potential false breakout pattern, so I want it to close decisively below, and more importantly, I want to mention he has to close below this 20 exponential moving average, which is currently at 59.63K. So if it does close below that by end of today or even tomorrow or in the coming weeks, then I'll lean towards the bearish momentum side of things. Otherwise, this could be a very nice retest, especially if volume starts to pick up and actually pierce through and actually find a clear support as well. So you can see that tentatively right now we seem to be finding support at this 50 simple moving average, which was similarly found over here. We actually attempted to retest it, and right now we are retesting it on the 4-hour chart itself. So if we retested successfully, as you can see, there's a slight decrease in terms of the selling pressure. And yeah, so if buying pressure starts to come in, it could be a good opportunity to buy, or we could have another false breakout towards the downside before we actually continue towards the upside. But if we have a very clear and decisive break downwards, then of course the momentum can shift very quickly towards the downside as well. So of course, I wouldn't want the daily close to close below the 61K, which would tentatively be a little bit more bearish. But even then, as long as what I mentioned, the key thing is for this 20 exponential moving average on the daily chart to be holding strong. And yeah, otherwise that's more or less about it. In terms of position trailing, like what I say, the 20 exponential moving average has finally been broken. And you will realize that actually even if you have taken profit over here, actually take profit a little bit lower because I'm a little bit late. But otherwise, you will notice that it's almost similar to this one is to 2. profit, which is actually key these targets if you actually entered over there. So yeah, nothing wrong with taking profit over here. So otherwise, I'll just remove this potential trade setup, which has already been taken, and close if you have entered. But otherwise, that's more or less about it. And I'll see you guys tomorrow. Take care. Bye-bye.